I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the meeting of the Auburn School Committee. Great to be back live with you again. This is the meeting of September 17th, 2020. I don't see any citizens to comment. We do have citizens to comment? Oh. Oh, the Pledge of Allegiance. Yeah, good idea. It's been a while. Nice to be live again. If you'd please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you for that. I'm embarrassed to say I wasn't doing the pledge in my dining room while I'm running the other meetings. So, seeing no citizens to comment and no special recognitions this evening, I would entertain a motion to accept the minutes of 9/2.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it is a vote. And I will now turn it over to Dr. Hanfield for the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good evening, everyone watching from home. Just a quick note on the citizens' comments. As we will be in this format for the foreseeable future, what we have done is on the top of the posting for our meetings, there's a Zoom link, and if someone wishes to address the committee via Zoom, they are to be in touch with Mrs. Ottner by 3 p.m. The day of the meeting. And then we would let them in at the podium, and we have the audio. Mr. Hugo's helped us get the audio squared away so they could communicate with us in that fashion. So there is a venue for people to communicate to the committee. It's just for that fashion.
Excellent. Thank you for setting that up.
No problem. No problem. Just some quick items of information here. Our multi-hazard plans, pleased to report that as per Chapter 159 of the Acts of 2000, Section 363, and the full text is there for your review. Chief Coleman and Chiefs Lucas and I have reviewed all of our school multi-hazard plans prior to the start of the school year, and all has signed on in support. So I thank you for the building administrators for their work in putting those together, and the police and fire for working with us collaboratively to get that done. Opening of school. As you know, we are open. Today is day 2 of online learning. As I said in my message to families, it's been a Herculean lift, to say the least, to get us to this point. And I think for the most part, we're all pleased with how we've started, and things are running fairly smoothly. As I also said to my message in families, there would be little hiccups and bumps along the way. Mostly of the technical variety, but we have been working through those, and I will say they've been in on a limited basis. I'm extremely proud and grateful for the work of the school community, both our families and our APS family, to get us open, as well as the assistance of the town manager, Julie Jacobson, our CFO, Ed Kazanovich, Darlene Coyle, and the Department of Health and Inspectional Services. Again, Chief Coleman and Chiefs Lucas, and all of you as well. We couldn't have done it without everybody in the community, and we are moving to rectify issues as they arise. And fortunately, they've not been many. So so far so good, considering the global pandemic.
Great.
Great.
Any comments?
Well, that's good to hear, because there's a lot of things that could go wrong.
Oh yes, there are.
Yeah.
They're happening in other districts.
Yeah, I know.
Through the chair can only say we had a really great day, couple of days in our house. Everybody's all smiles, so maybe not about the homework. But I mean, it felt normal and it was just good, even though it was at our kitchen table. So that was our experience anyway.
Thanks to all of you, and thanks to our wonderful staff. It's just, as you said, it's really a monumental accomplishment. All right.
Just moving on, and I just kind of put these under the kind of a catch-all Auburn Public Schools Return to Readiness Guide, because some of these, most of these topics are related to information that's in there. In your packets, the commissioner sent to school committees a letter basically discussing how to interpret the metric maps that were sent out, or I should say started a few weeks ago by the governor. some school districts have been wondering how to interpret these metric maps and how many weeks are necessary to help inform a decision in terms of moving schools forward or moving schools backwards in terms of opening. And so what his note here is saying is that in conjunction with other factors, you really want to try and use 3 weeks of metric map data to help inform your decision in terms of moving schools, forward more in person or maybe taking a more cautious approach or shifting back to remote. So we will continue to use those as a tool in conjunction with the other precautions that we have in place here, our DPH, mass DPH, as we kind of evaluate, moving forward out of remote. So things thus far seem good. So next week, as you know, we'll be starting the half days on Mondays and Thursday. Then the week of the 28th, we'll start one full day, Monday, Thursday. And then barring any unforeseen problems, we will go into the 2-1-2 model October 5. And then we will, I think we're anticipating that we will be there for a bit, and we will look and see what, if any, effects of the COVID-2, that might come along, as well as anything to do with influenza. And then we will see where we are at the end of trimester 1, which is somewhere in December, and kind of start some dialogue about where we are at that point. But every step of the way, we're checking. We don't want to rush into something too fast. But certainly, I think the feeling of many, at least the feelings that Dr. Chamberlain and I are getting from many in the community, as well as our teachers, is that they want their kids, back in school. And so we want that too. We want it safely. And so we will continue to use this information from the commissioner.
Great.
Kind of moving in that same direction, classroom cleaning materials. They're just to bring some closure to what will be in classrooms. Mr. Fahey, as you know, our director of physical plant, sent an email to principals just clarifying what would be in classrooms. Each classroom has their own reusable tub of disinfectant wipes. Each classroom will have hand sanitizer. Each classroom will have a spray bottle that will contain a hydrogen peroxide solution. It's a product that our food services utilizes to wipe down and disinfect our cafeteria tables. We'll be able to use that in classrooms and on desk surfaces. It's environmentally friendly, and as I said here, it doesn't cause any issue with skin contact, doesn't contain any harmful fumes, and is safe. So the SDS sheet is also attached for the peroxide multi-surface cleaner. You have that in your packets as well, and we will have these posted in schools so folks could take a look at them if they want. We did have some questions around this in our town halls from some families, and so we wanted to provide this information to the public. We also, as you noticed in that email, again, being concerned about our ability to make sure that our buildings are as clean as they can be. We did hire 2 part-time custodians to help kind of go throughout the district in addition to our current custodial staff. We're calling them COVID custodians because they are temporary employees. But in speaking with Mr. Fahey and walking the buildings and looking at what the cleaning requirements are going to be, we wanted to make sure that we had ample personnel for that. So we have those 2 on right now as temporary help. They've been trained and are already in the buildings working.
I'm sure they appreciate that title.
Well, we thought it was better than temps, so that they agreed that COVID custodians was good. So that's what we went with.
I don't know. We'll have to weigh that.
Again, following along the idea of safety and things that we've talked about throughout the summer as we get ready to open school, we have been checking the air and the HVACs in all of our school buildings. You have the attached report from ATC Air. They came in and did a preliminary baseline, and as you can see there, we're in great shape. The things that they recommend for our HVACs is nothing more than routine maintenance. They also did do a COVID review, as they discussed in their email, of the certain aspects of buildings that need to be taken care of with respect to airflow in different, parts of the building. As an example, containment rooms. So they did a full COVID overhaul of the buildings as well. So they will be in monthly. We're doing that again as a proactive measure to, again, just kind of measure our air quality and our HVAC systems against the baseline information that we have. So, again, we're in great shape, and I think it's, in large part due to Mr. Fahey again for his preventative maintenance plan. And as I think we talked at our last meeting, we've had an HVAC maintenance plan for years and years and years, and this is the benefit of having one. So that's great information. And then finally, with respect to the Atmos Air units that we talked about, that we will be bringing in to every classroom in the district and common area. That bid was awarded on Monday to Trumbull Campbell Associates out of Newburyport. They also installed the HVAC equipment at the middle school, so we are familiar with them as a vendor, and we were very excited that we were able to work with them again. So they will start sending us units that will number 275 when we have them all in place. And as they start to come in, they won't come in one big bundle. They'll start coming in, 10, 20, 25. As they start coming in, they will start being installed into our elementary schools first, because they're our oldest buildings with our oldest HVAC systems. And then we will work through the middle and the high school. And again, we are doing this as a proactive step. It's not a required step. With the projections of a possible COVID-2 and a tough flu season, we proactively went out and to purchase these units to put into our classrooms as another layer of protection as it relates to the air qualities in our buildings. But as I said in my my opening video to everybody, masks, hand washing, distance. I can't stress it enough. Masks, hand washing, distance. If anybody was watching the news last evening, the director of the CDC was on, and he literally pulled, Mr. Scobie, he literally pulled a mask that you're wearing and said, "This is the best defense against COVID, a mask." So we know that air quality is also part of it in terms of disbursement and moving particles and things like that through the air. So I just want everybody to know that these are things that we're doing over and above what's really required, but we're doing it as a layer of safety for everyone involved, our faculty and our staff. But again, masks, hand washing, distance. I will continue to say it.
That's excellent, and I'm glad that he pulled out my type of mask, because Gail and I felt a little underdressed. It's nice to know that those
I will tell you, these literally came in that we're wearing now, and we do have some for you. So we will have them for you at our next meeting, so you can be in style with us as well.
I will wear that for special occasions.
But I will also say too, before, as I round out just kind of the discussion on the COVID related stuff, every teacher in the district, every faculty member in the district got I believe 2 of these.
Oh, great.
2 of these. They're nice. They have the adjustable ears. They're 2-ply, which is really great. They're not really too hot. They're really not warm at all as I'm speaking in it right now. And there's a little name piece in there, and they can be washed. So they will have 2, and they can, and the little nose piece here to make it fit right. They can wash them as they need to. So we did go forward and do that as well. So
That's excellent. Thank you, Gail.
Question on the units we're getting.
sure.
Are these standalone units that plug in
Yeah,
and
so-
separately into each classroom?
Yeah, so when you
Okay.
walk into a classroom, it's going to look like a dehumidifier, and it literally plugs into the wall outlet, and it's a bipolarization unit, and so it sends off positive and negative ions, and it grabs viral matter in the air and weighs it down and drops it, and so it doesn't recirculate.
Great.
So that's over and above, the current HVAC system that we have kind of swirling the air in right now.
Awesome.
And the benefit to them too, the other reason why we decided to do it was because moving forward, having been in the district for 15 years and Dr. Chamberlain having served at the elementary level, COVID or no COVID, flu season always comes, right? Belly bugs come, respiratory issues come. The nice part about these is that the filters that are in these units are good for 2 years. So as we start to develop our budget for coming years, we will account for replacement of those filters. But they will be useful to us, down the road for a number of years. It's not like the Olympics where you build it for 2 weeks and then it like decays. So those are there.
Great news.
Excellent.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Cecilia?
Cecilia,
Just
did
through
you-
the chair, because I was gonna talk about that later, but I was just thinking, since we've talked about this now, I was just looking for permission or a vote of approval from the committee to enter into a contract with Trumbull Campbell Associates, so that we can give that contract to them and we're all set to go. It was just happening this past Monday, we wanted to make sure we got it approved. So I was just looking for a vote of support to the committee to enter into the contract, so I just figured I'd bring it up now.
Excellent.
Okay.
Good timing.
Good timing. So it would be a motion to approve.
Yes.
So we're looking for a motion to approve the contract with Trumbull Campbell Associates.
And I'll second the motion to approve the Trumbull Campbell Associates purchase.
Any further discussion?
Whatever we can do to keep these kids from school, particularly kindergartners, or those parents like myself,
Yep.
have one in the house.
Yeah, as Dr. Hanfield said, even years from now, if we're kind of going to battle against the flu and keeping kids in school, that's huge. Even though we've accomplished a lot of things with them being out of school and will continue to do so, it's certainly best to have them at their desk with a teacher in front of them, and vice versa. The teachers also, I think, are really enjoying seeing the kids again.
Yeah, through the chair, I just, my visit and I went yesterday to see everyone. Dr. Chamberlain went out today. Yeah, I mean, the smiles on the teachers' faces, and then the smiles on the kids' faces, whether it was virtually or and through some of our other classrooms or some of our needier students are in early. Yeah, it's just, it's a renewed sense, it's just normalcy. It feels normal, and that we're starting to move and kind of come out of the, come out of the dark, so to speak.
Yeah.
I know we all feel that way, so.
Oh, it's a step in the right direction, so it's definitely feeling positive.
Absolutely.
All right. All in favor?
Oh,
Aye. There's a vote.
Thank you, Cecilia.
And we now move on to new business.
Yeah, so Mr. Chair, and the committee members, this had come out right as we were meeting 2 weeks ago. The USDA announced September 6th or so that they are going to subsidize all meals for students through a grant program that goes through the end of this year. Right now, it is set to expire December 31, but that could be extended. However, we don't know that right now. We are continuing to feed families through the Meals to Go program that was started at the end of last year. And we're currently serving about 400, a little over 400 families with meals, which is about double than what we were doing in the spring. Huge kudos to our food services director, Janice King, for her incredible work on this, but also to Cecilia and to Dr. Chamberlain, for their assistance as well. We're a full service operation here, and it's just enough to get school open. The fact that we're able to assist our families in this way too is really awesome. So we know the role that school nutrition plays in learning, and I'm thrilled that we're able to do this and serve as many families as we are. So hopefully, maybe there'll be additional funding to carry this through the end of the school year, but at least we know that we have it through the 31st.
Great.
Also, just as another follow-up to something we discussed in our last meeting, in response to the MIAA's allowance for fall athletics, which I mentioned to you, as I said, in August, the Southern Worcester County League will begin preseason activities October 5, and they will be playing in a pod-style format, so it will be controlled, the towns, or schools that will be playing each other. They will be playing on Wednesdays and Saturdays as it stands now. And they will obviously be adhering to all of the MIAA medical protocols that have been put forward for every sport. The only exception to this is football and fall cheering. The MIAA has created a fourth season. They're calling it Fall 2, which would begin roughly at the end of February and go through early April. So football and cheering would have its own kind of season end of February through April. All other fall sports will play a modified schedule of about 12 games. There's no postseason, but it gives our kids an opportunity to play. Principal DeLongchamp and Athletic Director Davis are working on this now. If it suits the committee, I had asked them about making a small presentation on the 30th of September to just talk about some of the safety protocols, you know, kind of what this is going to look like, scheduling, transportation, things of that nature. If not a presentation, they are making a PowerPoint that they are using with families. So if it's, you know, if it's your desire to hear from them and you're curious, I can either ask them to attend, or I can certainly pass, you know, the presentation to you on the 30th.
Yeah, I think if it's not too much trouble, I think we could probably even run if it's just a PowerPoint presentation, we could run it right here at the meeting so the folks
Sure.
at home could have a look at it.
Sure.
Even though the parents are seeing it, I think, you know, I think the residents also like to follow what's going on.
Sure. And just looking at space, because one of the issues for why we added the Zoom piece late was because we still have a building regulation in place for the
Yeah.
COVID meeting. So I could have them remote in even and discuss it.
Yeah.
Or there's probably enough,
One.
maybe enough space there too. Yeah. So I think that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I certainly don't want them to go out of their way. What I was suggesting is we could even just run the PowerPoint if it was, you know, if it was audio with it, but
Okay.
whatever works.
Okay.
They don't have to come here at night, you know. Everyone's been working pretty hard right now, and they're going to be working pretty hard to get things off the ground
Right.
regarding athletics.
Okay.
All
right.
I would just ask, I know we brought up before, how that's going to affect our budget with busing the kids
Sure.
to the events. And
Yeah.
then I'm also just purely curious about February football in the snow.
I know. So that's
If
interesting.
they could weave that into the presentation, that would be great.
So through the chair on the busing piece, we're anticipating that most athletic season or athletic teams rather run a schedule of about 18 to 20 games. They're halving that schedule,
Oh, okay.
so then obviously half the bus cut. So we'll be able to accommodate the bus needs through our existing budget. And then as far as football in February, like, I mean, I'm kind of excited about it because it's always depressing once the Super Bowl comes and goes. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm just happy that these kids have an opportunity to you know, we have one last, you know, go at it, especially our seniors. You know, having been in the building last year in the capacity as a principal and seeing, you know, the disappointment on the kids' faces, you know, when the spring season didn't happen, like, that's tough. You know, for some of these kids, they've played their entire lives, and you know, senior year is, as we know, is a big deal. And you know, our kids handled it really well, but it was really tough to swallow. You know, so okay, I will follow up with them and see what their preference is.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you. Student representatives to the school committee, as you know, typically this is where they sit. They will be joining us September 30th. We're still figuring out how. We may have them just remote in quick to do their reports to the committee. But obviously, Mr. Aaron Zhang will return as the senior member. He replaces the wonderful Ellie Schoenfeld, who's now thriving at Rhode Island College. And we will be excited to also welcome Ms. Jasmine Gates, who is a junior at Auburn High School and also a school choice student as well, to the committee for the first time. So I believe it's going to be the first time we've had a school choice student serve in that capacity. So very excited to welcome her to this forum.
Yeah, that's excellent. We look forward to having Jasmine, but please please let Allie know that we're still thinking about her when we miss her. And
I will. I do communicate with her maybe once every couple of weeks.
yeah,
So
she was just awesome.
yeah,
It really was.
yeah. She's
It light up our rooms.
yeah, she's doing terrific in Rhode Island.
And
So.
now George doesn't have anybody to pick on.
Well, yeah, I'll go after Aaron if I have to. I used to throw him in the mix a little bit too.
He'll welcome it. And then lastly, before we move on to the teaching and learning report, wanted to seek a motion from you to reduce our iPad fee for the coming school year. This year, as you know, we are offering one-to-one iPad for all of our students in the district. This is a change from previous years where it had typically been 6 through 12. We have about 3,000 iPads in the district right now circulating. Obviously, they're not all with our students, but some are with our parents. And typically, the insurance fee, or I shouldn't say it's a fee, the suggested insurance that they can obtain if they choose to, is at $50, but with doubling the number of iPads in the district, we were able to knock that down to 25 and financially still be in good shape. So as we've also done in past years, we'll work with families in terms of caps. You know, we do have some, you know, there are some unique situations that crop up. So we will offer some cap, you know, flexibility to families as well. So if there are 4 or 5 children in a home that aren't paying $25 a shot, that's a lot of money, and especially during this time period, it's a lot of money. So just seeking a motion from the committee to allow us to reduce the fee from $50 to $25 for the 2020-2021 school year, and we would reassess it as we go into next year's budget season.
I would entertain that motion.
I'll make a motion to reduce the iPad insurance fee from $50 to $25 for the 2020-21 academic year.
And I'll second it.
Any discussion on that?
No, that's really good that they can do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Good thinking.
absolutely.
Through the chair,
Anytime.
are we thinking that every year from here on in, all kids will be assigned?
So, you know, so that raises an interesting question. We're kind of looking at how this year will go with them. It would be our intent that if we could do that we would like to do that. I think what we're starting to see through last trimester, but the start of this school year, is the utility that they can have at the younger levels. So if we can support that initiative, we certainly would like to do that. We would need to just look into, and we just haven't gotten there yet, but need to look in kind of the way that we're financing through the leases and things like that to see if we can continue to circulate new ones in and pass the old ones down and so on and so forth. But that's our intent.
Excellent, thank you.
One follow-up to that, would that add more of a need for technical staff?
So that's a great question. When I was out walking this afternoon, I was thinking of that as I was reflecting on tonight's agenda. I think, you know, when you look at the number of technology support staff that we have now and then you double it, I think it's common sense that you say, well, how are you going to support doubling it without doubling your staff, or at least increasing your staff? I think that's going to be something that we're going to have to just kind of eyeball as we move through the first few weeks. The other part of this that may necessitate some action this year will be what the final FY21 number is, budget number. And speaking with the town manager and CFO earlier this week, we are going to have the FY21 final number prior to our September 30 meeting, because you'll need to vote on it, to the adjusted amount, as we go forward to the special town meeting in October. In speaking with them, and this is still very loose, so there's no firm commitment there. But there is the real potential for us to see an increase in dollar amount based on fourth quarter hotels and meals tax coming in higher than what they had anticipated. So, you know, based on what that final number is, and then based on conversation with Dr. Chamberlain, with Cecilia, you know, in terms of where we are, you know, financially, we could potentially look to maybe bring somebody on this year. I think when you start looking at bringing iPads on at you know, K-5, it kind of makes some sense that they might need their own person just dedicated to that spot. But so again, it's a very fluid situation, but it's something that we're definitely discussing and looking at, because as we know, it's great to have the technology, but if there's no one there to help you when you need it.
I think to parents, it would be money well spent, because the frustration that they feel if they can't instantaneously help their child with logging in or their assignment, or whatever the issue might be.
Yeah.
It's just nice to have someone, an extra set of hands or an extra set of ears available, and
Right.
the more staff we have for that, the better.
And through the chair, and I would agree with you. I think we all would agree to that point. I think, right. I think right now it's just, you know, I think our mindset, and I know it's yours too, so I'm not implying it's not, is we're just trying to get the plane off the ground.
Right.
And once we hit 35,000 feet and take the seatbelts off,
Yeah.
you know, then we're going to kind of see where we are with everything, and then start to assess needs. Certainly, I think technology may be one. As you can see in this, you know, here we assess the need with custodians. So we definitely will look at that in the next few weeks, and then come back to you with some recommendations.
I was just going to say for the chair, we've also invested in trying to get it off the ground as a go-to-assist programming that they'll be able to go in and help remotely with parents who are struggling with issues on the iPad.
Celia, could you go step up to the microphone so that people at home can hear you, especially regarding something like this?
No, I was just going to say, also in terms of the technology piece, in trying to think ahead of, on this, is we've invested in getting a program, a go-to-assist program, where we'll be able to help parents and students remotely so that they can, with issues and that type of thing. We're working on getting that up and going. Right, Dr. Taylor? Yeah. So that was one of the things that we've been looking at too, so that'll hopefully be helpful, because I know that there was a lot of parents struggle last year in the spring and stuff. so-
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, and that will continue to happen. If we're looking at the lower levels, it's going to be more difficult. I mean, once you get up into high school, that's where a lot of the students are showing the parents how the electronics work. And,
Yep.
but yeah, if we're going to increase at that level, it'd be nice to have that extra support.
Right, okay, thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank you.
Through the chair, I mean, through the last few days, the tech support has been Dr. Chamberlain, myself, in addition to our tech folks. And we're happy to help, but obviously what we're starting to see is, it can't be sustainable for Dr. Chamberlain and I to be that tech support piece.
Right.
But to Cecilia's point, yes, we're looking at some other remote options, and so I don't want to steal Dr. Chamberlain's thunder, because I know that's part of her discussion, so.
Through
No.
the chair, I do have to say the teachers, some that I've seen, have been amazing with the tech support as well. I think my daughter's teacher may have spent 2 hours just helping random kids with different things and videos getting sent, and so it was really good to see. But I agree, I think
Great.
technology would be
Great to hear.
Yeah,
Gail?
and-
I just want to ask, how many tech people do we have right now? I mean, I just know of Eric, but maybe
So
there's
we
some
have-
others.
Yeah, so we have Eric, who's
Yeah.
our director of technology services. We have Steve. We have another gentleman who is our network manager. He kind of does the architecture of the network behind the scenes. We have that's right. We have Sue Boutot, who primarily is the go-to right now, for all things iPad. She probably is the one who's feeling it the most, being the iPad guru. And then we have Maureen Elliott, who is part-time, I think, with us, right? Is she full-time? Excuse me, she's full-time. So we have 4 right now. But, like I said, I think, we'll need to speak with Mr. Bouvier, and like I said, just look at some things when things settle down a bit, and make a determination if we need to fill another spot.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Any other questions or comments? Did we take a vote on that yet? I'm kind of a bit lost in that discussion
Second.
on the iPads. Were we still on the second?
I was ready the second motion.
All right. All in favor? Aye. It is a vote. This mask is throwing me off.
Blame the mask.
And we now move on to teaching and learning. Dr. Chamberlain?
Thank you, Mr. Scobie. And just to add on one more thing to that, we also received a grant, I think we mentioned previously, for 50 hotspots. So Mr. Bouvier and Mr. Marchand are in the process of getting those ready to deploy. We have several families already who have inquired that they're having intermittent internet kind of things and really could use the help. So to be able to offer 50 of those to our families is going to be tremendous. That is another layer of technology rollout that we've not had to do before, right? So that's another kind of ball of wax, but they're working on that, and that should be in place soon. So just to give you an update on ZipSlip, which I've talked about before, but all of our staff are fully registered, and every morning they get an email, or they either get an email through their email server, or they have an app, a ZipSlip app that you can get for your phone. And now that it's up and running, I think we've said it takes about 10 seconds to fill the form out. Then you submit it, and then we get these lovely reports of who's feeling well, who might not be feeling well, we might need to follow up with. And so we are monitoring the staff data on that here at central office in the morning, because it needs to be done fairly early. Linda Laughlin is helping with that in the office. We send out any information if anyone reports any kind of symptoms or having been exposed to someone that's positive with COVID. We send that out to the school nurse, to Leah Gothier, to the school principal, so that people, right, we raise everybody's awareness, we make some phone calls, investigate further. So far, it's gone really well. We've gotten some terrific feedback from the staff. They talk about the ease of it. And this week we rolled out to the families as well. So we went to high school, middle school first, and then the elementary schools. I would say as of today, we have about half of everybody registered. They're gonna get tired of seeing my one calls, and I'll go to all of you as well. But I have a lot of faith that through tomorrow and the weekend, the principals are gonna send some things out. We're gonna get more people enrolled. I would say that probably our first week will not be at optimal capacity. It took a bit to get the 371 staff members on and everybody doing it regularly, so for over 2,500 students, it's gonna be a little more than that. But what I know is it gives us really good data, and it's gonna be worth all the effort to put into getting everybody up to speed. So far so good, and we'll see how it goes.
Through the chair, I just have one question. As we get further into the in-building school, would it be possible to just add an update to our agenda every, just to say like, what do the metrics look like? Just as a standing agenda
What
item?
what looks like, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, just what data are we getting from ZipSlip? So just to add it as a standing item, just so we can kind of have a pulse of what's going on in different buildings. If it's easy to generate, if it's not, don't worry about it.
It is, no, and actually Leah Gothier is also keeping a separate record of anyone that any questions kind of that come up, right? Because we've talked before about all the scenarios that can occur with all of this. So we have a lot of staff members who are saying, I was here over the weekend and somebody, do I have to stay home? Now, each time, for the most part, it's been, no, you don't need to stay home, right? But people are being super cautious, which I think is great, right? And asking lots of questions. So anything she gets like that, she's kind of keeping track of. So we always have a good record of all of those kind of things too, along with the data from ZipSlip. So we're gonna have a good lot of data to share.
Great, no, thank you.
Great.
As you know, I was writing this as we were heading into this, but I can't stress enough the amount of effort that principals and their teaching staff put into creating these cohorts and classrooms. It was the biggest math problem I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Between figuring transportation, requests, siblings, making sure you don't have classrooms that have all girls or all boys, it gets down to all of those details. There were many variables. I just wanted to thank the principals and all the staff because they had help from a lot of teachers who really worked to make that work. Nothing's perfect, right? We'll have changes to make, but so far so good. We've gotten great feedback from families. There have been a few tweaks that had to be made. Those were made, but I think we're in good shape to start the year. Again, everyone has iPads and chargers, and we even have a small classroom of preschool students who will be working fully remotely, which is remarkable to me. Mrs. Hakens is their teacher, and she is all excited. She set up a little classroom in her home to kind of do that. So a lot of good things happening, and walking through preschool classrooms today to see the teachers teaching virtually to a classroom of kids on a screen and dancing and all the things they were doing, it was just terrific. So everybody is just happy to be back together. And again, just to update you that there was a lot of training and planning that took place over those 10 days. And at first when we learned we would have the 10 days, it seemed a bit daunting, but boy, they were really well received and very well used. And very much needed to get ready for all of this. So, I appreciate the fact that we had that opportunity. I feel like teachers are feeling very prepared with the tools that they have to teach in this environment. And I think from the feedback we received from people, right, it's all come together that way, right? They had the time to do it and they're doing well. So it's just been, given all of the things going on, it's been, I think, a very good start with all the things we've had to deal with. And we'll continue to deal with, but that's okay. That's okay. We're in a good place. So I don't know if you have any questions or.
Any questions or comments?
Just sympathy, because I know what you've been through. I'd be going to bed saying names and columns.
Yeah. I have a lot of notes in the middle of the night.
Yeah. I'd wake up at 3 a.m. and start jotting it all down.
Yeah. No, it's good. Everybody's working hard. Everybody.
I'm sure.
It's just well appreciated. So.
And
Yeah.
I just have a question just about just because I honestly can't remember how we did this schedule, but have we added any additional time through the year for teachers to have just a little bit of PD or break? I know we talked about it several different
So that's
schedule
gonna have a,
options, so I just want to make sure they get to catch their breath.
yeah, so on our
As we go.
Wednesday days, right?
Okay.
So students are actively working with teachers on Wednesday morning. Wednesday afternoon is gonna be a more independent type of learning. And during that time, so teachers are preparing what the students are doing. They're doing extensions of what's happening when they're together, but the teachers will then have the afternoon for planning purposes, for professional learning communities, for all those kind of things. So that's something that they've not had. I mean, along with every day they get their regular prep periods. But that'll be an afternoon every week that they'll have that. We're also gonna be very cautious about any half-days or PD days we have, right? We may not need a lot of new PD, we may need more planning time. And if that's the will of the group, then that's what we'll provide.
Okay, great,
Good.
thank you. Because even in the NEASC review, I know they said that was the one thing the teachers thought they would, themselves, they said they would benefit from more planning time. So
Yeah.
I'm glad it's kind of, purposely woven in, so.
Yeah.
So, and through the chair, so at the end of, in addition to what Beth has said, so we purposely moved some days. So at the end of every trimester, there's a just one day just focused for teachers at the end of every trimester to kind of regroup and get ready for the next trimester. We still have our half days and our sporadic PD days that are embedded in our calendar, in addition to picking up this time on Wednesdays. So yeah, I think there's plenty of time there for them,
Okay, good.
and at least it's been reported to us that they're doing well. The other thing that I want to add to it is I can't tell you how many comments I received traveling through buildings about how excellent our parents were these couple days, these last few days, helping getting their kids on. Some parents troubleshooting with the teacher to help their kids. That the teachers just could not say enough positive things about how our parents have stepped up, and I really want to applaud them because we know, right? They're working. They've got other things going on, but I can't, it was one thing that when I was driving back here yesterday, I just couldn't get over it. Every building, just unsolicited. The parents are awesome. So I really want to just underscore how much we really, really thank them and are so grateful for their help, because it doesn't go if we don't have their support, so.
That's great to hear, because when you only see a few negative things here and there, a few negative comments, it kind of it kind of rubs me the wrong way, because people just have to understand, and I think most of them do, what we're up against here. This is I think we spelled it out for them tonight quite clearly. Not everyone watches our meetings, unfortunately. But yeah, people need to understand that the work that went into this from the bottom to the top, from our custodial staff, Mr. Fahey, teachers, leadership. It's really just everyone here at central office. Everyone's been working double time, and so if there is a little bump in the road, we need to be forgiven for that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just great to hear that, I think more often than not, the parents are thankful for what all of you have done. And we're certainly I'm super impressed and very thankful for everything that's happening. I've heard from other districts, I won't mention any names, that things just aren't going as swimmingly as they are here in Auburn. So again, super impressed. Thank you.
And I'll say too, with people enrolling for Zip Slip, right, I literally think I had over 100 emails this morning before 8 o'clock. But with every response I gave people, there was, thank you so much, thank you for all you're doing, we appreciate it. Like, there was just, and that makes it okay, right? We're all just
Yeah.
trying to get through it, but really a lot of positive feedback, so it's nice. It really, it's good.
And through
Well,
the chair, oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I agree with him, and I've heard tons of great things from parents since, the other day, and they're just impressed. And I was listening in on one of my daughter's calls, and she's at the middle school, and it was a science class, and one of the students couldn't get on, and that teacher, all I could think of was, like, she must feel so helpless, like she can't do it for her, get the girl in this certain, and bring this window up. But she handled it so well and was like, you know what, I don't want to, cut into the other kids don't worry about it, I'll meet with you after, and walked her through it. It was just, I was like, oh, good. This is,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
they work so hard, and I think it really shows, and the kids respect it too. I hope my kid better, so she's done.
I think too, these 3 days of being remote, I think they're gonna help with the transition to in-person too, right? It kind of cuts the edge a little bit, gets everybody warmed up a little bit to get back, so I think scheduling wise, that's all worked out great too, with how kind of we phase this all in. I think that's been really helpful.
We've been able to establish that relationship, which is great.
Any
Well
other-
done.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank
hold
you.
on, we still have buses on Monday, so we'll just-
Oh, jeez.
let's not blow the bugle too loud yet.
about that one.
But we'll be okay. I have tremendous faith in the work we've done, and tremendous faith in the work that principals and Cecilia and Mrs. Zotner and the other office folks have done. I say that in jest partially, but we're pretty confident, right, Mrs. Zotner? We are.
So I actually have a question through the chair for buses. Some people I've heard have signed up for buses and then they decided, they even got their bus pass and they're deciding not to use the bus. Should, like myself included, should we let you know and that would change the numbers on the bus? Okay, because there's quite a few
Yeah.
people that have changed their
Yeah,
minds.
so through the chair, that would be really helpful. We do have, because, you know, we set that August 28th date, and as much as, you know, we said it was a hard stop, obviously, we're not gonna tell people. So we've started a waiting list for folks that needed bus transportation but got to us after the 28th. And speaking with Mrs. Zotner this afternoon, we've been able to just about cut most of that list, you know, away. So people have transportation, but certainly if there are people who don't need it, then that just gives us flexibility, because, you know, if we had to go and add another bus to do some other things, it's quite expensive, so yeah, so that
So
would,
Jesse,
Plus 5.
so Jesse, they're driving themselves? They're driving their kids?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna Uber them to school.
Or I make them walk, it's good for them.
Well,
Like
thank
the
you.
old days. Yeah.
Thank you again for that report. And now for the live report that we've all been holding our breath for since March. Business and financial.
He still has something to pick up. Good evening, everyone. So in your packet, I provided a year-to-date budget report dated September 15th, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Any questions?
Seeing none.
Since March, no?
I'll move on to the transfers. I have a small list of transfers that are between the same series dated September 15th that I provided for your information. And if you have any questions about that, give you a minute.
Seeing none?
Okay. And then the last thing I have is that I provided a listing of the current revolving accounts, an updated list as of September 15th. And as we normally should do every year, we should approve the listing of revolving accounts for the school districts. So I'll just ask for your permission or your approval to accept the list as presented as our list of revolving accounts. But I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about those accounts as well.
I would entertain that motion.
Oh,
To accept the,
yeah. I'll make the motion to approve the listing of revolving account balances as of September 15, 2020.
do I have a second?
Second,
Any discussion on that?
question. So I'm looking at school lunch, $487,000. Is that normal for us to have that much money? So this is to be used this coming year?
This is money that's carried over from year to year, basically, but it also includes liability in the sense that there's parents and staff that have previously paid in and have money on their balances on their accounts for the school lunch program, that takes into account. But this pays for all of our salaries throughout the year for the food service staff as well as their supplies and equipment. One of the things too with the food service department is they provide a lot of their own capital purchases because they were part of the CIP program before, but they've been doing so well that the town has asked them to take on more responsibility for purchasing and replacing bigger ticket items. But they've been doing a lot of work, and but yeah, that's money we use from year to year. We carry it over from year to year, the balance, whatever is left over. We're very fortunate in Auburn. We have some bad debt at the end of the year, but not as bad as other districts. And also, we're in the black. A lot of districts out there are, in the red, and they struggle. And we, due to Mrs. King's, Janice's diligence and work and hard efforts, she's kept our program going, and we're very we're profitable in the sense of that we don't have to be concerned about not having enough money. And so we've been very fortunate. But
Okay, thank you.
Great.
okay.
Any other
Right.
comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it is a vote.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. And is that all you have for this evening, Dr. Hanfield?
Yes, Mr. Chair, that would conclude the agenda.
All right. Anything from the committee? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it is a vote. Good night, everyone.